This is a PSA for the Magas. If you are planning to vacation abroad, especially to Europe, don't do it. Don't do it. They don't want you there. And if you do it, please wear your MAGA hat and take videos. I want to know what happened.
And let me make something absolutely clear, unless it wasn't already. If you voted for Trump, you are not allowed in Mexico. You are not allowed in Cabos, Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Aguascalientes, none of that. Guess what, baby? That's all in Mexico. You don't like us, we don't like you. Don't go there. Stay in your country. Figure it out. Vacation, I don't know, maybe Nebraska perhaps. One of the red states that you love so much. Stay there. Don't have margaritas, don't have tequila, no tacos, no enchiladas, none of that for you. Stick to what you know. Maybe a burger, perhaps. No cheese.
Don't you just hate it when MAGA says this?
The world respects us right now more than they have ever respected us.
Well, you patriotic Trump supporters, Italy just denied our military aircraft from using their airbase. France won't allow some of our aircraft to fly over their country. Poland refused our request for a missile battery. And Spain refused to allow us to use their bases. That's not respect.
People all around the world are absolutely hating Americans right now. More specifically, they're hating who's in charge, but there is a trickle-down effect to those who voted for Trump. There are so many people in this country that don't realize we are not viewed favorably. We are not the golden children that you think that we are. The rest of the world is moving on without us. The rest of the world is finding other allies and finding other resources. Many of you keep doubling and tripling down on what the Trump administration is currently doing, but there are many of us that can see clearly that we are losing our allies right and left. Have you had a conversation with a Canadian lately? I understand that many of you voted for this, and this is exactly what you want. But there are plenty of us that are not okay with the way things are going right now. And we understand why the rest of the world is fed up with us.
What pisses you off about Americans?
I think everyone in the East hates Americans because you guys think you own the world. And
She kind of has a point. She kind of has a point.
You guys has caused enough trouble. Honestly, just go back to America.
Oh!
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel once again. So guys, MAGA supporters or white Americans who are going to Europe and Mexico, they are having it rough. I want you to watch these compilations of video and see how MAGA people, they are being rejected in Europe and also how they are being treated when they are going also in Mexico. So kindly guys, watch this till the end, then I'll be back with more comment.
This is a PSA for the Magas. If you are planning to vacation abroad, especially to Europe, don't do it. Don't do it. They don't want you there. And if you do it, please wear your MAGA hat and take videos. I want to know what happens. Now, the reason that I'm telling you this is because I was on a phone call with my daughter who moved to Finland last week. I was talking to my daughter. She just finished brunch and she was walking outside with her husband. Clearly, by their English dialect, they are Americans, right? This man approached her husband asking if he was American and where he's from. Now, her husband said they're from Florida, which is clearly the wrong answer because everybody in the whole wide world knows how special, and not in a good way, Florida is. That man started yelling, and I heard him on the phone. He was like, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump. Finally, my daughter said, yeah, fuck him, fuck him. That was the way she got that man to shut up. Then her husband, who is Chilean, said, hey, I speak Spanish. I'm from Chile. Really, I'm originally from Chile. Dude, you should have said that at the beginning because didn't I tell you that if you're Latino, you need to use that card? Now, my daughter was able to calm down the guy because she agrees with his statement. And you got to understand that these Europeans are able to voice their opinion because what Donald Trump is doing is affecting the whole wide world. This war didn't need to happen. This was a choice, and he definitely chose wrong. So I'm definitely going to allow him to have his voice. So when I go over there to Finland in about a month, I'm hoping I can get people on camera to tell you exactly what I'm saying right now to you, that they don't want you over there and that they believe he's the worst president ever. Anyway, You guys have a blessed day.
If you're looking for some good news right now, a lot of MAGA supporters are having their wives deported. If you don't know, there's a pretty common trend among some MAGA men that they marry women from other countries. You might have heard the term passport bro. Could be a country in Europe or Asia, but overall they are getting wives from other countries because American women don't like them. I've heard of multiple reports, specifically in Fresno, California, which is a pretty conservative agricultural town where I happen to have been born, that people there are being deported. One of these couples, the wife, is from France, and her 87-year-old mother is living here as well. They're both being deported despite the red MAGA hats they wear outside every single day. This has been happening a lot in California, Texas, and Florida among MAGA couples. And of course, they never thought that it was going to happen to them because they only thought it would happen to black and brown immigrants. But yes, they are actively being taken out of the country, sobbing with their red MAGA hats on. And that's the thing about this administration. They do not give a fuck about tearing families apart, even people that have been good citizens. And I do really feel for the poor grandmother who's almost 90 years old that's going to have to start a new life. But at least some of these people are learning what happens when you vote for an authoritarian because they do not care about you individually, even if you're white.
Breaking news. The president of Mexico has stated that he will begin to deport Americans that have moved to Mexico without proper documentation, aka illegal immigrants. This comes after the president of Mexico states that he is tired of Americans gentrifying cities in Mexico. In the past 3 weeks, we have seen different events where Americans try to colonize beaches, public areas, and even salsa. While a lot of these Americans have moved to Mexico for a better life, they moved there because they cannot afford to live here in the United States. So move to Mexico so they can afford a lifestyle there, but locals have raised their prices because Americans are paying in dollars while locals that are still shopping have to pay in pesos and now have to pay the equivalent of the dollar. And instead of these people moving to Mexico and bettering the economy, they're making it horrible for the people that live there, you know, the natives. And if you already did not know, the amount of Mexicans migrating to the United States has slowed down by the 100,000 since 2019. The amount of Mexicans living in the United States leaving willingly back to Mexico has increased drastically. And while Mexicans are moving back to Mexico, a lot of Americans have been moving to Mexico for a better life. But my, how the tables have turned. What are your thoughts?
That moment when you go into a Northern Ireland bar and are immediately accused of being a bad person because you're from the United States, doesn't feel very good. Culture shock, I guess. But we're staying in this cute little coastal town, and we went to just enjoy a beer, and we're like, you know, we don't want to talk about anything or anything like that, and it just ended up with me in tears. So, if you're an American citizen, maybe just proceed with caution.
Oh no! Did you visit another country and they treated you based on where you're from and not who you are as a person? As a human? Now you know how it feels to travel to America.
Accused of being a bad person because you're from the United States.
It doesn't surprise me, but it still blows my mind how Americans, specifically MAGA Americans, travel around the world without doing any historical research, any political research. And they just assume that everyone's just like so excited for them to be there.
Is it safe to travel as an American right now because the rest of the world hates us? Did you see the video of the American woman in Ireland? This way.
That moment when you go into a Northern Ireland bar and are immediately accused of being a bad person because you're from the United States.
Now, she goes on to say that the bartender recognized she had an American accent and then asked, you know, oh, you're from America, who'd you vote for? And here's the thing, okay? The Americans need to understand the rest of the world does not like Trump. Okay, Trump is actually, and this regime is doing a lot of damage across the world. You know, we're the bullies, all right? So as long as you, because I've traveled quite a bit since the Cheeto's been back in office, and every time somebody asks, like, are you American? I'm like, yeah, I'm so sorry. You just apologize for it. And then they're like, oh my God, I feel so bad for you. Like, that's like, pity is usually the sentiment you get. They don't hate you unless you're like, oh yeah, no, I voted for this. I'm really excited that this is happening. This is what I support. Then yeah, you are a bad person. And yeah, they're going to not like you. You're probably not going to be welcome. So if you're worried about traveling abroad and
because of Trump and you're American, just as long as you're a good person, didn't vote for him, just tell people that and everyone will be very kind to you. But nobody likes Trump. And I know that like the right really thinks that the world loves Trump too, like they do. And no, it's just this little cult that they have.
There's this video going around of this lady and the title is like, left in tears in Northern Ireland. And in the video, she's like, I went to this bar in Northern Ireland and I was immediately accused of being a bad person. So if you're from the United States, proceed with caution, like acting like everyone from the United States is going to have this issue. But here's her story time on it.
Story time of why I felt uncomfortable and unwelcomed in the north of Ireland. I walked in with my husband to the central bar, and I immediately noticed that they had the world news on, rightfully so. There's a lot of crazy things going on in this world. And sure, they want to watch it. I'm a visitor in your country. That is completely your prerogative. You can watch or do what you want. That's fine. I genuinely mean that.
So you think it's reasonable for people to care about what's going on in the world? You agree that's a reasonable thing to do?
The woman behind the bar was so kind. She was very nice, gave us our pints, what have you. Then the gentleman said, are you American? And I said, yes, we're American. And I'm not lying to you when I say it instantly went from, yes, I'm American to, well, who'd you vote for? And I kind of was just shocked. I'm like, wow, that was very direct.
Immediately that tells everyone who you voted for. Why would you be shocked by that? Nobody who didn't vote for this would be shocked by that question.
And I said, we're on vacation. We're trying to get away from all of that. We don't really want to talk about it. And I did not know that that automatically meant, oh, you're a MAGA crazy Nazi that blah, 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 blah. Like I've been reading in my comments.
I do not know what is so hard to grasp about this, but it's a recurring thing where they're like, well, I didn't say who I voted for. How do you know who I voted for? Because the people who didn't vote the way that you did are not ashamed about it. Like, you guys are the only ones who are ashamed about it. It's not confusing. And yes, her reposts confirm she did in fact vote for it. I don't know why they always try this line as if it's difficult to put two and two together.
See the video of the American woman crying because she went to a pub in Northern Ireland and felt so unwelcomed. People were judging her for being American, so if you're American, be warned. I'm sorry, but that reaction tells me that you did absolutely zero research before going to that country. Northern Ireland is one of the most politically complex places in the Western Hemisphere. The people there have lived through decades of violence during their troubles. Politics isn't just some abstract thing that you argue about online, behind a screen, where you can hide. It determined where you lived, what school you went to, and what neighborhood you could safely walk through. So yes, people talk about politics in pubs. A lot. A pub is not just a bar. It is a community space. It's where you watch the news, you debate, argue, and process what's happening in the world. And when you're from a country where your regime is actively destroying things, you don't participate in a local discourse because you're on vacation, we don't want to talk about it. That's privilege. Not only is it privilege, but it literally shows everyone else who you really are at your core. It has nothing to do with a cultural misunderstanding. Cultural misunderstandings are normal and happen quite frequently when you travel, and people are accustomed to that and accommodating. And the Irish and the Scottish, I have to put them in there, even though this isn't Scotland, are the nicest, most genuine people I have ever met in my entire life. There's absolutely no way that this woman's victimized interpretation of what happened is what actually went down. She framed it like, oh, I walked into a place with a really strong political culture and they attacked me for being American. No. Being American has nothing to do with it. It's the type of American that you are. It's the privileged type. The type that assumes that every room you walk into, every environment that you encounter will cater to your comfort. And that's not possible when you travel. You cannot expect that every culture will bend to you. The expectation is that you learn about where you're going before you go there. Not just the scenery, not just how beautiful it is and how it's a quaint little seaside town, but the history, the politics, what it's like when you walk into a pub and you adjust accordingly, especially somewhere with a history like Northern Ireland. Because walking into a pub in Northern Ireland and being surprised that people are discussing politics and world events is like walking into a sports bar in the US during the Super Bowl and being surprised that people are watching football. Get over yourself.
The American national anthem got booed at an NHL hockey game in Canada tonight following Donald Trump's announcement that he's placing a 25% tariff on Canada. Just take a look. Yeah, those boos were really loud. Canada is certainly unhappy with the United States. I want to remind all of the MAGA lunatics out there who praise Donald Trump's every move that this trade war with Canada and Mexico helps nobody. It changes nothing for the better. This trade war angers two of our closest allies. It makes products in the United States significantly more expensive, and it makes it more difficult for businesses in the United States to do business with Canada or Mexico. So congratulations to MAGA. The United States is getting a lot worse really, really quickly.
Do you want to know what they're saying about the United States and Donald Trump in Ireland?
We are witnessing the descent of the United States into fascism. A president who rejects election results, incites insurrection, attacks the judiciary and the media, has an armed militia intimidating minorities, who kidnaps foreign leaders and threatens the sovereignty of others. If Trump smells weakness from the EU, it's because when the US or Israel break international law, we look the other.
All over the world, they are talking about how awful he is. They are talking about the atrocities. They are talking about the ruined relationships, the ruined trade. This will take us decades, if ever, to recover from. And it's only been 1 year. Where do you live and what are you hearing about the USA?
You want to know what Australia thinks of America? Here you go. Do I blame them? Absolutely not. As I said in my New Year's video, America has become a fucking dumpster fire from Sucktown.
Traveling to Europe when you have a president that Europe respects is so much nicer than traveling to Europe when you have a president that the rest of the world despises. Trump is obviously huge in that right now. Like, nobody likes Trump outside of MAGA in the United States. I've traveled under every presidency since like the first Bush, the OG Bush. And I will say though that lately with like Trump, I was just in Paris and Lisbon in like the last like 2 months, month and a half. And everyone was very kind. They were like, here's what you have to do. If somebody's like, where are you from? You say United States, I'm so sorry. Then they realize like you're a safe space. And then all of a sudden I actually was met with a lot of like pity, kind of. Like, people were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I know it's awful. Like, I think the thing is, as long as you're not like, yeah, America, we love our president, then like that is going to like be the huge difference. I remember I was in New Zealand when George W. Bush was president, and I was with like sitting abroad, and some like the bouncer at this bar was like, oh, you're Americans, like what do you think of the president? And me and my friend were the only two like liberals there, and we're like, fuck him, he's a war criminal. And they're like, come on in. And the rest of the people were like, no, we love America. And they like didn't let them in the bar. That's like the worst I've ever seen of somebody treating an American badly because of the president. As long as you're just like open that you did not vote for him and you don't like it, and like I'm always like, I'm American, I'm so sorry, I didn't vote for this. And that makes it so much better.
You wouldn't have gone on holiday to Nazi Germany, would you? You wouldn't have gone and spent your hard-earned money in a state that was actively committing a genocide, would you? You wouldn't have knowingly gone and spent your money and therefore supported an economy of a state that was knowingly committing human rights monstrosities, would you? So why the fuck are we still going to America on vacation? How many countries has the US bombed in the last 12 months? Yemen, Somalia, Iran, Iraq, Syria. They've obviously massively funded the genocide in Palestine. They've kidnapped the Venezuelan president. Oh, they're kidnapping their own people on the streets and shooting people in the face if they dare to try and stop them. But you want to go there? You want to choose to go there? I can only assume that if you've managed to get a visa to go to the United States of embarrassment, you likely have the opportunity to go to many other places. Explain it to me like I'm 5. There's one thing, it's difficult to avoid supporting America in some sense because so much is owned by them, so many companies are owned by them, and I'm trying not to be too judgmental, but if you're actively choosing to get on a plane, pay your visa fees, and go spend money in that hellhole, Can you explain it to me? Because I don't understand. The whole country music hype that was going on in 2025, like, you could call me a tin foil hat, whatever. I believe that was propaganda. I think that was a deliberate campaign to make America cool again, to distract us from the disgusting things that they keep doing. And I fear that a lot of us fell for it. A lot of us ate it up. America is fascist. And if you are choosing to go there for a jolly, you are supporting fascism.
This is why the world is not like America, and by extension, Americans. I often see a lot of confused Americans wondering why people in other countries do not like them. But the answer is actually very simple. Most Americans do not know the true history of their country. And the US's reach is huge when it comes to destabilizing countries and destroying the environment. Overthrowing governments that are democratically elected, villainizing and sanctioning countries that fail to do what they want, sabotaging the progress of countries that are typically resource-rich, contributing to genocides in mass slaughter around the world, by providing money and weapons to regimes that are known to commit human rights abuses. And if it's not destroying your country through these tangible and bureaucratic means, also just illegal, then they're destroying your country culturally. And what's crazy is the more that I learn about the histories of certain cultures in certain regions, the one thing that I'm noticing is that the US always leaves a trail, whether it's a trail of blood, bodies, and just complete disaster. They completely rewrite history and peddle lies about their impact abroad, rather pushing this narrative to its citizens that it brings freedom and democracy to other countries when everyone else who's been impacted by this country knows that that's a lie. And Americans believe it. I grew up in the US and was educated in the US education system. And it was only until I went to university in the US that I actually learned the truth about what this country has done abroad. But to know the raw and true history of the US is a rarity amongst the American population. And when your country has had such disastrous effects globally, especially on the global majority, people are not going to like you if you state the antithesis and you state propaganda that literally goes against the realities that people are living still to this day.
Mexicans deporting Americans is the funniest thing I've learned this year so far. Apparently, Mexican authorities are deporting Americans who have colonized along the beaches and nicer areas of Mexico who do not have the proper documentation. So yes, they've been deporting them back to the States. And you know, it's ironic because Americans are like, oh, pack up your bags, you gotta go home or whatever. And well, the Americans who have thought to exhaust Mexican resources and go live the cheap life, right? In nice areas, well, pack up your bags and let's wrap it up.
Breaking news from an article that just came out today. American doctors applying to Canada to work there has risen 750% just in the last few months. One doctor that was born and raised here and went to medical school here said he's really sorry for leaving his American patients, but he's already packed up his family and moved to Canada. He said he is afraid for what's going on with our American healthcare. Another physician was quoted as saying, physicians are supposed to be kind when we're taking care of our patients. These patients are at their weakest and most vulnerable. Instead, the healthcare system is devolving, that we can't take care of these patients with our hearts. The statistics in this article said over 615 doctors have applied to go work in Canada. At this same time last year, it was only 70. Other physicians were quoted as saying, I can't even take care of patients like I used to. This country isn't what it used to be. And they have stated they're embarrassed to be called Americans. Yes, Canada is a socialized healthcare system, but these doctors that were interviewed in this article said they're not concerned about the drop in income. They're more concerned about the devolving healthcare system in the US. Their driving force have been the severe cuts to Medicaid that probably will go through, placing people in leadership positions, and they quoted RFK Jr., who even states himself, you shouldn't take medical advice from me. And the way the budget for healthcare is being rearranged. They're diverting dollars away from the pandemic preparedness, as well as multiple other things we've seen in the news. A physician that moved her family in 2017 from America to Canada said now she can take care of her patients without feeling like she's burdening them with medical debt and that she feels she can take care of them better. She has less paperwork. It's less being a non-for-profit up there in Canada. She doesn't feel the pressure to serve so many patients in an hour, like every 5 to 6 minutes. They're scheduled here in the US, she said, and Canada operates in a really different pace, allowing her time to truly care for her patients. I just thought this was really interesting data and information. I'm really afraid for the healthcare system, as you guys have heard me on many of my videos that I've recorded, but this is a new turn that I hadn't expected, that American physicians would give up their medical licenses here in America and go work where they're not under the pressure that they are here. If you like this content, please follow, share, click the link in my bio for your free patient safety guide, and check out my book, Surviving Your Hospital Stay. Thanks for following, and I'll see you on the next one.
Are you a Maga follower? Please do not come to Mexico. Do not come to Cancun. Do not come to Puerto Vallarta or Acapulco.
Just got back from vacation and I saw this pop up in my feed, and this man, I mean, he's telling you, if you're MAGA, don't go to Mexico. And it's sad that he has to say that. Like, why are y'all going to Mexico? How are you going to shout, get out of this country, and then book a round trip flight to theirs, to vacation? Like, hey, build a wall and leave room for my Airbnb. Like, why are you going to Mexico? If you don't like these people, you can't assimilate with them here. You don't like them. You want them out of your country. Why are you going to theirs? Like, I don't understand it. Because, like, MAGA in Mexico, is Florida not racist enough for you? I mean, or Texas? Like, why do you need to leave and go abuse them there?
Good morning, friends. So, some of y'all cousins want to go to Mexico wearing a MAGA hat or MAGA gear. Really? If I worked in the airport, yeah, they'd be in line for some hours. Yeah, I think they'd probably have to be searched and denied entry. Not with that on. No. Nah, couldn't be me. They better be glad I don't, like, run no airport in Mexico, because them maggots would not be getting in. Not with that gear on. No. Take it off or get out. Okay? You don't bring that hate over to somebody else's country. Are you kidding me?
So I'm in Cancun, Mexico. There's got to be that one lady in the pool with a fucking MAGA hat. You know? But it makes you think. It makes you think, like, can you imagine the spit, piss, and shit in this woman's food? Can you just imagine the amount of feces that is involved in making her dinner here in Mexico? Thinking that it's okay to wear that fucking disgusting hat in a country that all you do is talk shit about? It's simply amazing.
Stay in the United States. Eat your Taco Bells. Eat your burritos. Eat your whatever you got back home. In Mexico, we already know that MAGA people hate Mexicans. We already know that you support Donald Trump, who is a really bad guy for Mexicans. They are putting our people in prisons. They are attacking our people. They are disappearing little children, separating families. We don't like MAGA people here in Mexico. And if you come, please do not bring your orange hat saying MAGA. Do not come with your shirt saying MAGA, because I've seen cases where MAGAs have been attacked by Mexicans in Cancun. At least they get knocked on their head, or at least they insult them, and we are right. We know you hate us in the United States, so why are you gonna come to Cancun with your offending us with your MAGA shirts or hats? Stay in the United States, you're better there. Why do you come to Cancun? Why do you come to Mexico? If you don't like us, stay there.
So guys, I hope you have watched those compilations of video and you have seen how MAGA supporters, they are being rejected in Europe, and also you can see how they are being treated in Europe and also in Mexico. You know, one of the things that these people they are forgetting is these people, they're the ones who have destroyed their country. You know, the rest of the world have been always seeing how America they've been voting. You know, this time around, these MAGA supporters, they're the ones who voted for harsh immigration policies. These people, they're the ones who voted for the immigrants to be deported back to their country. These people, they didn't want tourists, they didn't want immigrants in their country. And also, these people, they were using the slogan, "Make America Great Again." So we saw how they went ahead and vote, and after voting, we saw how ICE it was deporting people. We saw how the immigrant, they were being hunted. You can imagine how this ICE it was hunting the immigrants. They were deporting immigrants, people without nothing. They broke so many families of immigrants people. So this the whole world was watching this, and right now you can see the world it has started also to do the same thing that Americans they've been the MAGA supporters they did to the immigrants people. So right now we are seeing the Europeans they are rejecting MAGA people. You can see the kind of treatment. You can see how these people they are being seen in Europe, and also we are seeing in Mexico. In fact, the MAGA supporters they are having a rough time in Mexico, especially those who are coming who are coming in Mexico wearing the MAGA hat. So they are being told live that they are not going to be respected while they are wearing their MAGA hats. You know, one reasons to why the Mexican they hate these people is because their president DJT he came out and said that the Mexicans they are the ones who are bringing drugs. The Mexicans they are the ones who are they are running away from their country. Maybe majority of them they are running because they did something bad in their country. So they've been saying that the Mexicans they are bringing bad blood in America, and the Mexicans they were just watching. So after DJT came in office, we saw how he deported majority of the Mexican people, and because of that the Mexicans they feel like they are don't wanted. The MAGA people they don't want them in their country. So also we have seen how the Mexican also they've started to treat the MAGA supporters. So they are now showing them live that you are not welcome in this place, and also to those MAGA supporters, to those white Americans who they were buying the properties. Also we have been seeing how the Mexican they were protesting about Americans, about these white Americans. They're coming to their country, they're buying the properties. By them coming in large numbers buying the properties there, they're making life to be expensive. Also they're buying the properties near the beaches, and they're turning the public beach into private beach. So also that it has been bringing the problem, and the Mexican they have been also coming out and protesting and telling these people that they need to go back to their country because they feel like these people their currency, their money it is more valuable than the Mexican money. We saw the US dollar it is very strong. So when these Americans they are coming to the Mexico with the US dollars, for them life it can be easy, but for the Mexican people you can see when the tourists they are coming to a certain place, when you are having so many tourists in your country, you expect things to rise up. You expect things to rise up because you need to get more money. So that it is what it is happening. So the Mexican they feel like the Americans are the ones who are increasing the economy. Some commodities it is increasing because of these white Americans coming to their country. So they were also protesting, try to tell these people that they need to go back to their country. If they messed with their country, they need to go and stick there in their country. And also in Europe, we have seen how these people that are being treated in Europe. We have seen how Europeans, they came out and said that MAGA in Europe means make America go away. And also we have seen how Europeans they've been boycotting to go to America. We saw like Canada they were so many of them they were going to America for vacation, but when you go and see the American data you will see that majority of Canadians people they're not right now going to have their vacation in America simply because of how America the MAGA people they voted for harsh immigration policies. So right now America, they are having a strict immigration policy, and because of that, the rest of the world have been avoiding to go to America. And also, we have seen how the immigrants, they were treated in America. Maybe how the ICE has been kidnapping people, how they've been deporting them, how they've been detaining them. So because of that also, majority of people, they are not feeling safe to go to America. And how America it has been treating the immigrants people, it is the same way right now they are being treated. So right now it is tit for tat. Yeah, you do this and then I will do this. You know, these Americans, they were seeing themselves that because of their superpower country, they are having a respect worldwide. If they will do this, if they will go and vote for this, they will still be respected. But right now, they're having the shock of their life because the American, it has lost the respect. How the world it is viewing America, it is different. And also, we have seen how America it has been involving in it has been involving itself with so many other countries. It has been involving war with other countries. You can see like now, right now, America and Iran, you can see they are still having a fight, American and Iran. And also we saw how they were having a fight with China because of the trade war. So we can see how America also, they went ahead and captured the Venezuelan president, that it is President Maduro. This is to tell you that these Americans are the ones who those white Americans, those Maga supporters, they're the ones who they came out and destroyed the respect of their country, because right now the Americans, they are not respected, and they need to blame themselves. And also they need to know that the rest of the world it is watching, and how you are treating immigrants people to your country, it is the same way you will be treated in someone's country. And also for the Maga supporters, they need to know that Maga it is not loved worldwide. So if they are going to the countries, they need not to go with their Maga hat. No, they should leave their political symbols in their country. If they are going with the political symbols like t-shirts, like hats, they will not allowed in some of the European country. So kindly guys, you can also share your thoughts on the comment section. Let me know what you think about today's video. Kindly remember to give a video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel.